So at the beginning of this course, I said, if you can ask for money, you can do anything, or almost anything. And I hope you've seen along the way how you've gained some confidence in fundraising and learned that some of these skills can help you in other walks of life. So I'll leave with a little story. So about 15 years ago, this book came out. It's called Self-Made Man by Nora Vincent. And what she does is she goes undercover. She just wants to explore like gender norms and stuff like that. So she goes undercover as a guy and she does things you might think of as typically guy type things to do stereotypically guy things, like plays poker, joins a bowling league. And one other thing she does is she gets a door-to-door sales job. Okay. And of course, she starts out and she's pretty nervous about it and very timid. And she's knocking on doors and she's getting like, no, no, thank you, or the door slammed in her face. And, finally she gets so frustrated and she's like, oh, I don't care anymore. And she goes up, makes the ask, just, kind of rattles it off, couldn't care less. And what do you know? She makes the sale. And as she makes more sales, she gains more confidence. And she thinks back to what the people on the sales team were telling her, and they used a concept called law of averages, which means you don't have to stress about each individual sale, because if you knock on enough doors, you're going to find somebody that's interested in what you have to sell. So, that's the kind of concept that they all worked off, and that's what gave them a little bit more confidence, or some might say brashness, to do this job. But it was really just knowing that eventually this sale would happen. So that, from her kind of, I take for fundraising, and I want to leave you with this idea that, if you keep asking, you will get to a yes. And that doesn't mean that you want to take each individual donor or prospective donor as just a number. It should just be something you keep in the back of your mind, that you say to yourself, I'm just going to keep trying and don't give up. It has to do with having that kind of grit that will enable you to succeed. So, the more you do, the more you work and learn and take feedback and adjust, the better you will do. And you will do just great in fundraising. So I think that was kind of a neat piece and a neat book for me, that I hope, the story will help you as you move forward. Okay, so in your discussion post this week, I would like to invite all of you to share what is your most important takeaway. That is my most important takeaway of fundraising, is just you got to keep going. Things will work out in the end. But I'd love to hear yours, and your classmates would love to hear that too. We always get some interesting comments. So that is your discussion post. And remember that your final submissions are due on Friday. I've enabled the ability for people to make multiple submissions if you have more than one artifact that you are turning in. So you can upload, I think, up to 4. If you have any issues, just email me all of your content, your materials, and your reflection paper, okay? You don't need to email it to me if you were able to get everything uploaded, all right? And then finally, I just want to thank you all for being great students, for enabling us to have time to have synchronous time together, because as you can see, fundraising is something that really does require personal connection. And so I was very glad to practice this with all of you in our individual and our group Zoom meetings. And remember, we have our individual Ask Conversations this week. So remember to sign up for that, and remember your time slot for the Ask Conversations, okay? This is a big part of your final project. Now, another final thought, some students have pointed out that when you are going into those Ask Conversations, you're holding a lot of things in mind, what you wanted to say, maybe something that you've read about fundraising theory, maybe trying to make small talk, make an ask, and it becomes a juggling act. And, I've seen lists of 60 questions you can ask a donor about your estate plan, and those are really helpful for us, but it's not something you can take in your head to a conversation with a donor, right? So your adaptive challenge is just how to get through that individual donor scenario. And each conversation is kind of its own adaptive challenge, right? So at that moment, you're sitting across the table from someone, and you can let all of that go, all of the stuff in your back of your head that you're wondering or trying to think through, and just be present with that person and enjoy that conversation with them. So again, looking forward to connecting with all of you this week. And as we wrap up our course, feel free to keep in touch. I have a mailing list at pitchperfectfundraising.com. If you want to hear any of what I'm up to, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. And again, email me if you have any questions. So thanks a lot, everyone. See you this week. Bye.